So you bought Floyd Deluxe. Congratulations on acquiring the greatest Pink Floyd sound pack in the world. How do you get started? How do you install and import all of the sounds? First of all, you need an Arturia account. So go ahead to the Arturia website. It's just arturia.com. If you click this person icon here, you can log into your account if you already have one. If you don't have one, go ahead and create your account. I already have one, so I'm just going to log in. Sign in, and there we go. You should see your name here. Now go ahead and click support, and here is the ASC. This is the Arturia Software Center. Click this and download the Arturia Software Center. What is it? It is an elegant, simple solution to help you install, activate, and update your Arturia software instruments. Many companies nowadays have these. So this is the Arturia Software Center, IK Multimedia Products Manager, TuneTrack Products Manager. Many companies have these installers, the central software where you can manage your licenses and stuff. Okay, this is just the Arturia version. So download this, and you can open it up and download Analog Lab from there, or you can just click Products here and click Free. From here you can download Analog Lab Play. This is the free version of Analog Lab. I recommend that you read everything that is written here so that you get some understanding of what the software is, or you can watch my videos on Analog Lab. As of today, as I'm recording this video, I haven't recorded a full Analog Lab tutorial yet, but it will come, okay? Now, let's say you downloaded Analog Lab. All you have to do is open it up. I already have it downloaded, so let me just minimize this. Open Analog Lab V. Because I own the entire V collection, I can see Analog Lab Pro here. You're probably going to see Analog Lab Play if you don't have the entire V collection. And if you click this icon here, you will be taken to the browser screen. Okay. If you click this, you can see all of the instruments that are included in the V collection. But anyway, if you go ahead and click Sound Banks, you're going to see your sound banks. This is Mini Freak 3.0. I don't know if this will be factory available for you if you don't own the V collection, but it is available to me here. And you can't see Floyd Deluxe yet because this is my new Mac and I haven't imported the sound bank yet. Now let's say you made a purchase. You're gonna get the downloads, and they're probably gonna go to your downloads folder. In my case, I already have the folders and I store them in my music folder. Let me just show you the pathway. I like to have my music stuff here. So this is my user, and this folder with the music icon is where I like to store all my stuff. So here I have sound packs, Floyd Deluxe, and here are the files. Full soundbank.labx is the sound bank you're looking for. Okay, .labx is the file extension for Analog Lab presets. These files come out of just clicking here and export, and either export preset or export bank. Pink Floyd samples, those are the samples. Okay, it's in a separate sound bank because samples are much heavier than just presets because you actually get WAV files. But okay, you store the files wherever you want. You know where they are. You go to Analog Lab, and if you're following me, the steps are just log into your Arturia account, install Analog Lab, go into Analog Lab, click the three white lines icon on the top, import, look for the files. In my case, they are here, music, sound packs, Floyd Deluxe. Choose full soundbank.labx, open. Boom, there it is. Just like that. Then import Pink Floyd samples, open, boom, imported, just like that. Here you can see all 180 presets. Okay, these are all of the instrument presets. No samples here. I separated because that's better. And here are the samples. Now, why are these samples here? All of these are loaded into Emulator 2V. This is one of the Arturia sampler instruments. It's an Arturia recreation of the EMU Systems Emulator 2, which was an actual real vintage sampler from the 80s. Let me just show you what it looks like inside. And if you're an absolute beginner, you're probably not familiar yet with how to trigger samples to play live. So I just made some of the work for you. I loaded the samples into this emulator so that you can just press down a key and hear the samples. If you're not familiar with samplers, probably the most famous is Contact. I used Contact for a long time, but nowadays I prefer using either Emulator 2 or using the quick sampler from MainStage, because MainStage is my DAW of preference nowadays. Okay, so here are the Dark Side of the Moon samples, Dark Side of the Moon intro or Speak to Me, the On the Run soundscape. Here you don't have the, this is just the sounds that are in the background. Time intro, you know, I don't need to show you all samples, but many of the samples are already loaded into emulator. Okay, so here is the Shine On intro samples. This preset has all of the chords that you need for the intro of Shine On Your Crazy Diamond. And Shine On intro stack, this is actually a split. This icon in Analog Lab indicates that you have a split. It's not exactly a split, it's a stack. That's why it says stack, because I have two instruments, the intro samples and the Solina bass. If I click keyboard settings, you can see that each sound is restricted to this specific area. Okay. But anyway, now you have imported all sounds and you have all of these available. If you choose to just use Analog Lab, you're going to be restricted to either one or two presets at a time. Okay. Many people have asked me, but why do I need a DAW? I don't want to use a DAW. I want to use just Analog Lab. Well, I highly recommend that you use a DAW, because it's much better to lay out all of the sounds so that you can see what's going on. If you use just Analog Lab, you're going to be restricted to just one or two sounds. You can't have a split of 3 or 4 sounds. And Pink Floyd is probably the band that has the biggest variety of sounds. Some songs like Dogs, Shine On Your Crazy Diamond have many different sounds throughout. And if you have to use just Analog Lab, you're probably going to have to move your hands over to your laptop and click down to go to your next patch, right? And here in the sound bank, you have all of the files sorted alphabetically. You can sort them by type or by designer, but by designer won't make any difference. But if you want to organize things better, you need to go to Add Playlist and go, for example, Floyd Show. And here you have Floyd Show, and then you have to create a new song, for example, Time. And here you can add sounds by going to sound banks. Let me go to Time. Where is Time? Time. Time for Fisa. So you can right click this and go to Add Playlist, Floyd Show. Then your sound will appear here. And if you add more sounds, you can sort them out just by clicking and dragging. You can't click and drag here on the sound bank, okay? It won't do anything. But here you can click and drag and sort the sounds any way you want. This is so that you organize your sounds. And then you can use this Go On Stage feature if you want, but I'm pretty sure this isn't available on Analog Lab Play. This is probably just available for Analog Lab Pro, okay? And you can see the instrument, see the effects. Why are these effects here? Well, let me go to sound banks. Where was the time? And don't click open for Fisa. I can click edit preset. So this is the screen where I can edit Analog Lab parameters, okay? This is not exactly an Analog Lab tutorial, but here is the preset. If you click open, you're gonna see the actual instrument. This is the Farfisa. And this is the effects that you can add using Analog Lab. So here's part 1 and part 2. You can't have part 3, like I said. You have these effects available. You can turn them off, turn them on, raise the volume of the delay. This is like factory delay and reverb. You can only change the type of reverb and the type of delay. Here you can actually use different effects, but you can't have 4 different effects, like 4 different phasers. You can have 2 different phasers, but these 2 will always be delay and reverb, okay? So again, if you don't have Analog Lab Pro, you probably can't go on stage like this. I never use this go on stage feature because I prefer using MainStage. It's much better. I understand what they did here, but I don't really see much use for it. So the sounds will be available here on Analog Lab, and you can try them out, play, have a lot of fun. But let's say you are a Mac user and a MainStage user. Not everybody is a Mac user. Not everybody is a MainStage user, but let's say you like MainStage. So you will get inside of the same folder, you have here MainStage concerts, and you have two different folders. One says MainStage V collection, and you have 6 MainStage concerts here. Why 6? Because that's the way that I decided to sort them out. So these 4 are the main albums: Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals in the Wall. Early years, that's pre-Dark Side, and later years, that's After the Wall. Okay. Now, these are copies of the same MainStage concerts. I only created copies because it says Analog Lab, and here it says V Collection. Now, V Collection is a separate license that you can buy on the Arturia website. For example, you can go to Sounds or Products, Software Instruments, and here V Collection X. Now, this offer is for me. This is the standard price, 600. But if you own previous products like V Collection 9, back when I started, I started with V Collection 5 in 2016. So I always upgraded, and this is nice about Arturia. They always add discounts if you are like a returning customer. Now, I already have this, but even then it shows me this offer. But anyway, I highly recommend that you get V Collection X if you want to customize the sounds, if you like going into the mini mode, going into the Jupiter 8 and tweaking the sounds yourself. If you're not that much into sound design, you probably don't need it. Just Analog Lab is fine. Now here, where is Analog Lab? Software Instruments, Analog Lab. So Analog Lab Pro is $200, but you probably get a license of Analog Lab if you buy an Arturia keyboard, okay? I have a Keylab Mark II. Let me just, controllers. I have a Keylab 61 Mark II. I don't have a Mark III yet, but it probably comes with a license for Analog Lab Pro. This will give you access to a bunch of extra stuff. You probably get access to this Go On Stage feature and a couple of different things. But anyway, so I recommend that you get a Keylab, and probably if you get a Keylab, you also get a discount for V Collection X. But anyway, enough about just Analog Lab and downloading these things. I'm not gonna use this, so let me just delete it. Okay. But let's say you are a MainStage user. I'm gonna just close Analog Lab, and here are the MainStage concerts in my folder, right? MainStage V Collection and MainStage Analog Lab. If you do own the V Collection, you get access to all of the different instruments. If you only have Analog Lab Play, you can't open the standalone plugins. What are standalone plugins? So here is Arturia softwares. Let me open Mini V4. You don't have this specific program if you didn't get Arturia V Collection, right? You will be restricted to this screen. You actually won't see Mini V, you will be restricted to Analog Lab. Why do I use standalone versions rather than Analog Lab? Simply because it saves some CPU power, because Analog Lab can access all instruments, right? It can play presets from any of the instruments. You can come here and choose DX7 D&B loop. I will be playing a DX7 sound. Juno, choose this one. I will be playing a Juno sound. And I can come to Explore, open the presets, and tweak the preset. Okay. So because Analog Lab can access all instruments, it's a little heavier on the CPU than using standalone plugins. But if you don't have the V Collection, you can open this up and you can just open the MainStage concert by right-clicking it. So let's say Dark Side of the Moon AL. AL stands for Analog Lab. File path select. Now, why is the screen here? It says multiple matches found for file Dark Side of the Moon intro. So you have the samples which are in the same folder here, Pink Floyd samples. But if it's the first time that you're opening the concert, you're probably going to get this message. MainStage has already found the samples, even though they are in a different location than they were in my previous MacBook. All you have to do is click OK. 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 And now everything is here. So whenever you see a sampler or a quick sampler, let me go to mapping, or is it zone? Zone. So you can see that I have two different samples. This is Lath Effects and this is Eclipse End. They are already loaded because fortunately MainStage has already found and already reassigned the samples to the right places. Okay. So breathe, on the run, time. Answering the question, why would I want a DAW? Now here I'm going to play money. I have set a different Moog lead, a Prophet lead. You have the option to play either of these, and a Wurlitzer NWA for 2 keyboards. If you're going to play using 2 keyboards using just Analog Lab, you have to open Analog Lab twice. This is like not optimal at all. Can I even open it twice? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can open 2 instances of Analog Lab. Maybe I can, but if you can only open one, you'll be restricted to just 2 sounds. But using a DAW, you can set up as many channel strips with as many sounds as you want, okay? So this is just for money. I have the lead on top and the Wurlitzer on the bottom. If I want to play time, I have Farfisa, Mellotron, Moog Bass, and Wurlitzer. And it's visually better. You can see everything. And also you can assign like buttons on your DAW to go to next patch. You don't have to move your hand over to your laptop. So it's always better using a DAW. Now, what are the most popular DAWs nowadays? MainStage Gig Performer, for playing live, of course. MainStage Gig Performer. Some people use iPads to play live. Some people use Camelot Pro. There are many different DAWs. I also used Ableton Live in the past for many years to play live, but after I started with MainStage, I fell in love with it. It looks great, it feels great, very smooth, so that's what I recommend that you use, okay? Plus, if you want to get into a Pink Floyd tribute band, like the easiest, absolute easiest pathway is just buying Floyd Keys Deluxe and MainStage, and you can just open and everything is basically ready. All you have to do is start playing, start rehearsing, like get used to the positions of stuff. But if you want to move things around, there's a separate tutorial for MainStage if you want. But anyway, you get the idea. Now let me just show you the last thing, which is the samples which are loaded into the emulator too. So let me close this concert and let me open the Wish You Were Here concert. Wish You Were Here Analog Lab. It is 2025, it's the 50th anniversary of Wish You Were Here, and many people are gonna play 50th anniversary concerts for Wish You Were Here. Now this, I just opened the preset and it says multiple matches found for file, welcome to the machine intro. Again, this only means that MainStage has already found the samples wherever they are. They were in a different location on my previous MacBook, but now they are in a separate location. MainStage has already found because the names are all the same. I didn't change anything. So hit OK. The concert is here. But let's say you're gonna play Shine On Part 1. The samples are here, like the full chords, the G minor chord, C minor, D minor. Let me just reassign the keyboard here because I am not using my Phantom anymore. I'm using my Montage. So I reassigned. Now I have my Montage set up as a controller for the bottom keyboards. If I press G, I'm not hearing the samples. I'm only hearing the Solina bass. Now you can see that I have 3 different sounds here: Moog bass, Solina bass, and samples. Moog bass is muted. This is what it sounds like. I actually prefer the sound of the Moog bass rather than the Solina, but some people argue that in the actual recording the bass sound was a Solina, so it's also available here. If you want to use only one, you can just delete the other channel strip. But why are the samples not working? They are being triggered, I can see here, but I don't hear the samples. This is because this is the first time I'm opening up this concert. So let me open Analog Lab of this channel strip to see what's going on. Oh, what's that? Missing samples. Oh, let me email Alan. You don't need to email me. Why are these samples missing? Because they were located in this specific location when I created the preset. When you import a sample into Emulator 2V, it creates a copy of the sample in this specific location. Library, Arturia, samples, emulator, user, shine on intro samples. This is the folder. And here are the names. So because the names are exactly the same, all you have to do is click locate and find each of the samples. So my samples are here in my music folder. Pink Floyd samples, shine on intro samples, back to G minor chord, open. Okay, it's fine. Now D minor, just repeat the process for each sample. Sprinkle effects, other effects, and basically everything is set up as it should be. Okay, I can just close this. Let me hit a G. Great. Let me try the other ones. Yes, even these two. Alright, so if you get a message of missing samples, all you have to do is relocate. It doesn't matter if it's the Emulator 2 or if it's the quick samplers. Probably MainStage will already find the samples for quick sampler and sampler, just like you just saw. Just open MainStage and it shows we found matches for the samples, but Emulator 2 doesn't do this automatically. So all you have to do is the first time you open Analog Lab and relocates the samples. Now you don't need to open Emulator 2V here. Oh, great that I can see this message. You need to own the full version of Emulator 2V to have access to all the parameters inside Analog Lab. Visit the Arturia website to learn more. I don't know why this message is here, because you just saw me going into the Analog Lab. But anyway, I'll deal with this later. So you can just hit cancel, and there it is. But you don't need to own Emulator 2 or the V collection to be able to relocate the samples. Okay, so there is absolutely no barrier to entry to Floyd Keys Deluxe. You can download Analog Lab Play for free, and then you go to Soundbanks, click this, import, find the right files, sound packs, Floyd Keys Deluxe, import the sound pack, and everything will be here. The samples are also going to be here, but probably when you open like for the first time, just like you saw, you're gonna have to relocate the samples. Okay, now if you don't have MainStage and you're not a Mac user, well, too bad. You're gonna have to assign the sounds in your DAW of preference. I can't spend the time to create performance for every single DAW in the world. This is my DAW of choice. So if you want the sounds already laid out, everything ready, you have to use MainStage. If not, you can just, it's actually fun. I like laying out the sounds, so you can just go to your DAW of preference and lay out the sounds however you like, okay? So that's basically it. Let me know if you have any other questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See ya.